Welcome, I hope you enjoyed this series of videos I call Rocky Mountain Air. I'm Captain Kevin. You'll find me on YouTube as PokerPioltKH. Come and check me out. Yes, I'm a real pilot with wide-body international experience. However, today we're flying a light aircraft at low level through the Rocky Mountains and all the mountains of British Columbia using Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We're going to follow the route pioneered by the Canadian Pacific Railway. Here's the story. In Canada in 1867, 4 provinces joined together, Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, Quebec and Ontario, to form Canada. Shortly thereafter, in 1870, Manitoba came along as the 5th province, and British Columbia in 1871 said, "We'll join if you build us a railway to the Pacific." Canada contracted the Canadian Pacific Railway to do just that, and a country from sea to sea was born. Let's travel through our history. From Calgary, we'll be heading west to Banff, take a diversion up to the Athabasca Glacier, Golden, British Columbia, through the Rogers Pass to Revelstoke. After Revelstoke, we'll see the last spike and then stop in Salmon Arm. And at Salmon Arm, we'll continue to Kamloops. Kamloops, we'll follow the Thompson River down to the Fraser River, and at Lytton, it joins the Fraser Canyon, spectacular Fraser Canyon, where we'll visit, Hell's Gate. From Hell's Gate, Hope, we'll overnight in Hope, and then continue down the Fraser Valley to the Pacific Ocean and Vancouver. Let's see. Let the adventure begin. Pre-flight's done. We have gas in our Icon A5 amphibian, and away we go. We're going to depart runway 17 at Calgary International Airport. Way off in the distance to the right, you can see the city of Calgary. Cowtown, as it was called in 1870. Before the railway, it was a cattle ranching mecca. So we'll go down and take a look at the city center before we head west. This little airplane flies really nice, and I chose a seaplane because we may end up taking the opportunity to land on a lake or a river along the way. Beautiful day for flying, round about noon in October 2020. City's about 4 miles away. You can see with that little placeholder landmark marker. Oh, look! Shortly after the railway came through Cowtown, Turner Valley was found, which was oil and gas mecca, and Calgary became an oil and gas powerhouse. In fact, the largest oil and gas field in the British Empire during World War II. So a big metropolis now. I've got 5 times the speed as we follow along to the west here of Calgary, picking up the Bow River. The Bow River flows all the way to our destination of Banff, and it goes to the south-southeast to meet up with the South Saskatchewan River. As we head west here along the Bow River, we'll pick up the Trans-Canada Highway number 1, which in fact flies mostly along the same route as the Canadian Pacific Railway. They do deviate from time to time. The Trans-Canada Highway was much, much later than this Canadian Pacific Railway. So we'll emphasize the Canadian Pacific Railway, but occasionally follow the Trans-Canada and of course the rivers along the way. Sometimes I can't help myself. Oh, there's Springbank Airport. Just above the right wing is the Springbank Airport. Beautiful airport west of Calgary. And sometimes I just, in a simulator, I gotta go to low level. Let's follow that Trans-Canada, see how we get on. My goodness, it's flat and straight here. Here we go, along the highway. Oh, watch out. Over, under, what do we do? Under, let's go under. Okay. Oh, good. I'm glad that worked out. Let's get back up to a safe altitude. Simulator's fun. Way off in the distance, if you look carefully on the horizon, you can see the tops of the Rocky Mountains west of Calgary. That's where we're going. We can't go wrong. We're just going to follow the Trans-Canada, the Bow River, and the railway all the way. Highlights along the way I'll point out. Look at the mountains coming into view. This shouldn't have been too hard for the railway to push through this area because it is relatively flat and the grade or the rise over the run is not that bad, so they probably had an easy go of it this way, as they did throughout the whole of the prairies, aside from the odd river and bridge, swamp. But don't forget, this is 1870. Horse and buggy and man-carrying carts. No major earth-moving equipment, although maybe dynamite. As we approach the mountains in the valley here, this is approaching Kananaskis. That really is the entry to the Rocky Mountains. Just east of Canmore. And we're in it now. There's the railway underneath the right wingtip, the Bow River in the center, Trans-Canada over to the far left. Here coming up on the town of Canmore. Dead Man's Flats, as the placeholder says, and we'll continue along the river and the Canadian Pacific Railway. Directly overhead Canmore now, last major village before our destination of Banff. Straight ahead of us, off in the distance, there's one mountain, that's Cascade Mountain, and that is indeed our destination area. The Banff is right there at the foothills of the Cascade Mountain. The Banff area was named in 1884 by George Stephen, who was the president of the Canadian Pacific Railway. He recalled his birthplace in Banff, Scotland. And the Banff area is surrounded by, as I mentioned, the Cascade Mountain, Mount Rundle, Sulphur Mountain, Norquay Mountain. We'll see those as we go over the top of the city. Bow River below us on the left, railway on the right, low level, scooting along. That's the Trans-Canada Highway now. Good view of Cascade Mountain straight ahead. Okay, Kevin, the road's turning left. What are you going to do? Time to? Yes, anytime. Anytime. Good. Make the turn. Little Banff drift below us. Sunshine Village, a major ski resort straight ahead on the next mountains over. And here's the village of Banff below us. A great tourist destination. Highly recommended for anybody. If you love outdoors, you can't go wrong in winter or summer. Beautiful, the most beautiful scenery. They have fantastic hotels. The Canadian Pacific Railway built a major tourist hotel all along the way of its railway, and here in Banff, no exception. It's now owned by, let's see, Fairmont. So it's called the Fairmont Banff Springs Hotel. Not well simulated by Microsoft here, I have to say, but we're right over that area right now. Bow River, the Bow Falls below the aircraft, that's right where the hotel is, the Bow Falls, quite scenic. And let's call that approaching the end of our first flight. We'll go look for that little airstrip in Banff. It's not a major airport, large aircraft don't land there, but for helicopters and emergency use, mostly. Let's see what we see when we go to the Banff airstrip. that placeholder there above the aircraft just shows it. On the left wingtip, Norquay. That's another major ski resort people enjoy in the area. It's time to put down some gear. There they go. Got some flapstone going down as we are joining what we call the left downwind for a landing on Banff's runway. I think it's runway 23, maybe? It's sort of northwest, southeast runway. No, yeah, northeast, southwest runway. There it is, just below the aircraft on the left. We'll make a left turn to join what we call the base leg, turn around on final, and land on this beautiful grass strip. Very scenic. There we go. Left turn, final, gears down, flaps are down. Make sure now I get my speed back to a reasonable number. It's only a small little 2,000 foot strip. Adjusting the power a little bit as needed. There we go. Off to the left. Trees to watch out for. Let's just clear them a little bit. There we go. Now we can go down for the start of the runway. And hold it off. Hold it off. Nose up a little. And nose up. And boom. We touch down. Very nice. Hey. There we go. Straight ahead. What's that? What do you see to the left of the aircraft? What do you see? I see something on the... What's that? Let's go check that out. Right by the left wingtip. Yeah, let's go for that. Shouldn't be there. What could it be? Wildlife? Is that a moose? No. No. That's a grizzly bear. That's a Banff bear. My goodness, we found a Banff bear. Let's say hello. All right, that's close enough. Oh, let's get out of here. We'll park this baby. Go for another flight tomorrow. Join us. We'll go from Banff to Golden as we pass over Lake Louise.